Hello, all my faithful watchers on YouTube. Well, I've achieved the 50 plus subscriber milestone for a few weeks now, and unfortunately, I don't have a video in store for you to celebrate it. I may have one sometime in the near future, but right now, I'm here to give you a quick update on what's been going on in my life and explain my absence from YouTube, as it's been about a month now since I made my last video. Well, part of it has to do with the fact that I've been on my other channel where I've been creating some of my own animatics, and in fact I'm in the process of making another, more ambitious one that I hope to be able to upload by early next week. Here I lay in bed before you, exhausted, having come home from a very long work shift. Since this pandemic started, I picked up the long, exhausting hours I had less than 6 months ago, a 37-hour-a-week job that wore me to the ground and left me in a depressing episode, and really took a lot out of me, including the time to make videos or fit room into my schedule for certain online events. But this past November, things began looking up for me, and I was gradually getting closer to my goal as a full-time artist, even having been able to cut down on a few of my work hours. Now, since this pandemic started, I now have the weight that I previously had on my back, and I previously had the weight on my shoulders, and it did no favors for my back or neck either, for that matter. And I do have a lot of that does have to do with me being tall and having to do a lot of crouching over on a daily basis in a world that just wasn't built for a person of my stature. For the first week, I could deal with it because most of the people were staying at home, but this past week, since people were getting out of their houses more and more to ease their way back into a normal lifestyle when quarantine ends, which, by the way, I just found out the quarantine plan in my state has just been extended for another month. I've just begun to hate it more and more and started to feel trapped again by circumstances, except for different reasons this time. See, the reason I'm dreading the circumstance I'm in is not so much the fear that I wouldn't be able to find another job. It's more to do with the fact that I've become so dependable with the job that I'm currently working at, and I'm the only employee working there besides my boss. All my other coworkers, being well over the age of 50, have been let go and have no problems with it at all, seeing how they can make more money off of unemployment than at the job I currently have. So they're clearly none too eager to come back, and this is salt on a wound of me having a history of having to cover some other newly hired idiot employees who would either often show up several hours late, so I'd have to cover for them, or they'd just up and ditch just without any notice. And my job does not give paid vacation time or paid sick days. The last vacation I had was this past September. It was the first vacation I had in 3 years, and it only lasted 5 days, during which my boss had to pull several long overworking hours to cover my absence, since the other coworkers either couldn't or just flat out refused to put in extra hours. The mechanic and I have been pulling more of our weight in this business than anyone else, and it's really taken its toll on us. So really, the big thing that's making us feel trapped is more that I'm the only one that my boss can depend on, and it would not be fair for me to just leave him hanging as precariously as he is. Yeah, if any of this comes off of me trying to garner pity, I can assure you that I am not here for that. If anyone, my boss deserves it more, because he's a mechanic who goes home beaten and battered every evening after taking 50,000 phone calls a day for dozens of repairs a week just to be able to get his daughters through college, since he's a single parent providing for them. Plus, the first few weeks of this pandemic, he didn't have an apprentice, so he was running around doing literally everything by himself. He's currently in an unthinkably compromising position that I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemies. Okay, there are a few people in this world whom I think could stand to be in his shoes for some time, but it's really not a position that any decent human being really deserves to be in. Of course, while businesses and economics across the globe have been suffering, the Earth and the rest of its wildlife has been flourishing. Pollution has gone down significantly, Coral reefs have started. Coral reefs have actually been doing a lot better, and animals are feeling free to roam places that they otherwise would naturally want to avoid, and all of it is better results than what came of our previous best efforts to save the planet. Unfortunately, this means that by the time human civilizations can resume regular work schedules and the like, the Earth will go back to being overrun by man's forces. Because the sad truth is, we as a species are naturally selfish, lazy, and too reliant on conveniences. So yeah, I'm barely hanging in on a job that's a chore to endure because I don't have it in me to bail out on a boss who has been nicer and more supportive to me than many other bosses I could otherwise have. And we're not sure if we'll be able to find enough people to bring on board to add some balance back into our busy schedule. And all the while, my sister and I were planning to remodel our kitchen, but that had to be put on hold, and now it looks like we might be resuming that remodeling. In which case, I wouldn't have much, if any, time to make videos. But as for the other videos I already did make, on this channel anyways, the two most popular ones, by far, have been the ones I did on two YouTubers with recognizable names. I just had my rebuttal video on Mr. Enter's Nikorama on El Tigre be given a shout out to two other YouTubers, one of them being called The Wacky Deli, who mentioned me in his video dissecting the worst of Mr. Enter's Nikorama, which is an overall pretty solid video in my opinion. Yeah, I'm just gonna come out right out and say that I am freaking done with Mr. Enter, after being one of his most adamant defenders for over a year. Well, actually for several years, all the way back since 2013, I would say. I mentioned in my El Tigre video that I might do another video of him in the future, and ever since his announcement on DeviantArt that he was planning to do an animated atrocity this year on The Lion King 2019, I was planning to do a commentary on that. Yes, even as someone who resents the movie. Because I don't see what he thinks he's going to accomplish from it except for preaching to the choir and keeping the film alive through sheer spite instead of letting it fade into obscurity like the rest of the world has. Even Disney themselves, as they have moved on to other projects, yes, including animated ones to show that they're still willing to keep the medium alive and profitable. And Mr. Enter at this point has become yet another example of a YouTuber playing the YouTube game. I mean, it's like the Nostalgia Critic said long ago in his Food Fight review. People knew it was going to be the next popular thing to mock, so they decided not to mock it at all. And, in fact, who the hell even remembers what Food Fight is nowadays? Mr. Enter was beginning to become someone I started to feel ashamed for liking, but kept trying to give him another chance to prove that he's bettering himself like he's often said he is. However, with the way he's been responding to criticisms against his Nikorama series, going right down to deactivating his Twitter account because of it, he's not made a very appealing image of himself. Even professionals in the industry, including ones working on Nickelodeon properties, have admitted to ostracizing him. Wacky Deli goes into this more in detail, so I'll link his video below and you can watch it if you're interested. But I'm just here to say that I'm moving on to other YouTubers whom I feel are more deserving of my attention and support. Excuse me. While in other news, I've just been waiting and waiting and waiting for some other freelance jobs to fall into my lap, or at least respond to the applications I've submitted while creating stuff for myself. And the wait just seems to continue to be in vain. And I'm not sure if it has to do with the pandemic and people trying to save up for things they need just to survive. But either way, it is discouraging for me because it's making me feel like I'm back at step one like I was a year ago and sending me into another existential crisis. But on the plus side, my latest book that I illustrated, The Adventures of Spike the Wonder Dog, told by Bill Boggs of Bill Boggs TV, will be available on Amazon for purchase in just 10 days. After that, I'll see where I can go. But in the meantime, I'll send you a link to Bill Boggs' channel so that you can find out a bit more about the book for yourself, and you can actually find the links to make a purchase if you're interested. I don't have much else to say except that I thank all of you for your wonderful words, your support, and I hope the rest of you are doing well as we try to pull our way through this. This is Jacob. Hopefully I'll have a video of some sort to thank you for helping me get to a 50 subscriber milestone. Thank you. Good night.